Okay, thank you. So thank you for being patient with us. Some people left, which is unfortunate, but hopefully others will join us. There are some places in front here, if you would like to come and sit down. I can't say it in Latvian, but if you need translation, please put up your hand. Translation? No, not really. Yeah, a little. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, you are good. Okay, but let's start. We have Riin as well. So I have to read it out, not to say something stupid. Labdien. Mani sauc Annika. Sounded okay? Thank you. And now I'm going to speak in English because that's about it. And probably the common language that we have is English. And those who need translation, you have the opportunity as well. So I came here in the morning with the bus from Estonia and kind of felt for that it's so close, actually. I went to the bus station at 8 and I was here at 12:30. Gunnar was meeting me and it felt like going from one end of Estonia to the other. So we are very close to each other. We are neighbors and it doesn't take long to get to each other's countries. And I think it's very good that we can have a discussion like that. So today's 1 hour that we have together, the goal of this hour is to discuss and to share what do we know about each other's education systems, what Latvians know about Estonians, what we think we know about your system, and learn what is happening, what innovation is going on maybe, what problems do we have, maybe find solutions together, or maybe in 1 hour we won't, but we will just bring out the problems. And I really hope that there are things that we can do together as well. Maybe some of these will pop out today. So I will introduce myself and not the others yet, I'm sorry, and then I will ask a little bit from you. So my name, I already tried to tell you, and my background is right now I work as the manager of a fund which is called Smart Future Foundation in Estonia, Targa Tuleviku fund, and we are sisters with funds AUGT or brothers. It's the same kind of foundation established by Swedbank in Latvia and in Estonia, and we are supporting projects and pilots and programs that we believe have potential to make a change, a positive change in general education, to pilot something new. And for me, the most important criteria is that it makes something better for the student, for the young person who is studying in school. Before that, I have worked in the Ministry of Education and Science in the field of general education. Before that, I had a very unique opportunity to create a public school and to be its principal. And before that, for more than 20 years, I worked in private sector. And I think sometimes it's good to say good things about yourself. So the school that I created, it won the best school of the year this year. Although I'm not there for 2 or 3 years, I'm really proud. It's like my little baby, which has grown into a little bit bigger baby and still carries on those ideas that were so important for myself and are still important there. Before we introduce other panelists, I would like to ask a little bit from you. I will come closer because it feels better. So please show with your hand an answer to my question. Do you think you know a lot about the Estonian education? If you think so, please raise your hand. The question is, do you know a lot about the Estonian education? Okay. Okay. Anyone else? The others know? You? Riin? Do you know something? Good. Yeah. Okay, let's have another question. You do? You are from Estonia? Okay, good. Yeah, okay. Now the question is, do you think you don't know anything about the Estonian education? Okay. Okay. What about you? Okay. So there are just a few of you who think they know something and quite a few who know anything. And the others, what is your position? So and so? Okay. So we have a good starting point, because I would say that I can't say that I know nothing about the Latvian education, but I'm totally, honestly, I don't know everything about it. But I have some ideas, some presumption. And I know Riin just visited your ministry actually a week ago. So she, I think, is the expert from Estonia about your education. But now I would like to ask you to introduce yourself, my beloved panelists. Riin is in Estonia, so if you would say, what is your connection to education? We already know that your name is Riin, the family name is too complicated, but what is your connection to education, Riin? And we don't hear you. Riin, try once more. Yeah, now we hear you.
Good. Okay. Thank you for the technical team you have there. I think they do a very good job. Good afternoon to everyone. And as Annika said, I am very honored to be here. And I am working as the Minister of Education and Research of Estonia. And I am leading the Educational Technology team. And our team's main goal is to make sure that we use technology in Estonian schools the best way possible to support our students. And before I moved to ministry, I worked as an IT teacher and educational technologist for more than 10 years. So I believe I have quite a comprehensive overview of our educational system and maybe the positive and more challenging aspects we have in our schools.
Thank you, Riin. Yes, please. Your name and what is your connection to education, please?
Oh, hello to everyone. My name is Anda, and at first I want to say thank you to LAMPA because in this year there is so many discussions about education, and for me, education is very important because it's this year. It will be the third time I will go for first grade, and it's bring up for me a lot of emotions and some also thoughts. And I have been for 2 years in the role of Minister of Education and Science and Space and Sport, and so on. And during my cadence, I tried to work with reforms regarding financing system and other things, how to improve teaching system in Latvian schools. Therefore, I think I'm maybe very deep now how work education system in Latvia, and also I have been in Estonia 2 years ago and visited your minister, Kristiina Kallas. So.
Thank you. I have to say that I'm really bothered about the noise that comes from the other panel, so I will move there. But meanwhile, please.
Okay, I will continue. Introduce myself. My name is Guna. And I'm leading Fonds AUGT, Education Foundation in Latvia. So it's my latest relation to education. And such, previously I worked for more than 20 years in private sector, leading companies, and also in non-profit sector. But also my big link to education is such that education is a huge value for me as a person. And it was brought by my family as well, but education should be like a way how you develop yourself. So to learn all the time is something which is my way of living. So it's also what my connection to education.
Thank you. And do please.
And hello everyone, my name is Oskars. At this moment I'm a principal of the school and also history teacher. I've been in education as a teacher for 14 years right now. I started as a teacher, then vice principal, now I'm a principal. I have PhD in pedagogy. I have done something in University of Latvia as well. I'm writing history teaching books for teachers and doing a lot of teacher professional development programs to support teachers in different ways.
Okay, thank you. So now let's move on to the first topic, and I think, Riin, we will start by me and you sharing what are the 1 or 2 key points we think we know about the Latvian education. You are freshly informed on site, so I will start, okay? So one fact that I know, thanks to my colleagues, is that you have in your parliament Education, Sports and Culture Committee. So in Estonia, we have culture committee. There is no education committee in the parliament. This is my personal interpretation. I think it is quite meaningful. If you don't have a place in the parliament where education is put in the forefront, it's part of culture, and you do, then for me it's a strong point, I would say. It's not, it doesn't have anything to do with the work of the people there. I can't really criticize it, but the general idea is quite interesting, I would say, that we don't have it in this way. And the other fact that I think really has touched me is that both of our countries recently have made the decision to start in the schools everywhere the instruction in the Latvian language, even in the schools that so far, as we all know, have other language instruction. And I admire that you did this, I think first, but what you definitely did was that you did it really fast. Fast doing is sometimes problematic, but here comes this like legend about the Estonians, yeah? We are slower and we have more time, but in this sense, this is a fact that has been with me from the beginning when I heard that Latvia made this decision really fast and really bravely. We will listen to Riin, and then it would be nice to hear from our Latvian colleagues what do you think about our ideas about your education, and it would be really nice if we have a discussion with you as well, because I think that panelists would like to hear more what you are thinking. Riin, what are your 1-2 key points about Latvian education? And we don't hear you? Riin, we are not hearing you. Oh, okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
As Annika mentioned, 2 weeks ago, I had a joy to meet your Minister of Education, and what I picked up from her presentation is that I think that there are some similarities we have in Estonia and in Latvia. For example, the challenge of finding teachers in our schools, but at the same time trying to find the balance between the number of students we have in several regions and the teachers we have there. Because as I understood, the same as in Estonia, you have some regions where in the future you might not have enough students to keep the schools you have there. And I think that it's similar in Estonia because our population is moving to our biggest cities, and some areas maybe lack the opportunity to provide the best possible education. I was really interested to find out that there are some innovations in Latvia we could learn from. For example, the things you do to make STEAM education more popular, or how you would like to involve students more in the decision-making process. Because I think this is something we kind of lack in Estonia, that we tend to make decisions which without maybe listening the students who are actually the ones who are affected by those decisions.
Thank you, Riin. I want to comment on the last one. I have been in 2 different meetings where I have been kind of obliged to say that, okay, here we are deciding about the education of the young people, all of us here middle-aged women. This is what happens in Estonia a lot. But I would like to ask Riin, more concretely, you said this student involvement in decision-making. So what did the Latvians tell you? What are they doing? How are they doing that?
I understood that they are going to create some kind of cooperation unit, or they would like to involve some students in a decision or policy-making processes even. So I think this is something which sounds really interesting and very open-minded, I would say. I'm sure that our panelists from Latvia could maybe open this up a bit, or or maybe would like to give us some advice how we can implement the same kind of approach in Estonia.
Okay, you have a word. Would you like to comment on anything that we said? No, never. Yeah, feel free, myself or Riin.
Do they talk about self-governance or about what? Because it's very hard to understand about what initiative the colleagues tell you.
I'm not so sure that there's like some kind of initiative, but we are like, I would say, as a humanitarian principle, that we are like obsessed with the STEM. That everything we are trying to implement, we are first of all we are trying to thinking about how to like enroll a lot of students in pedagogy programs who can teach STEM, you know, or how to motivate students to study STEM. But I don't think that it's right, you know. But it's I can't mention the concrete initiative.
But
Sorry.
you don't think it's true, or you don't think it's right?
No,
it's a different thing.
I would say that we are lacking another part of this because there's we know that there is a lot of issues going on where like humanitarian education could solve those problems. For example, how we are like dealing with misconceptions or how the critical thinking and civic engagement and a lot of other stuffs, which is not so related to STEM education. Yeah, there's like a huge priority in our system. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We need that, but we can't forget about that other part of education.
Okay. Any other comments from you?
I could like add, because yes, STEAM is something we put like priority. We in a country we would like to put priorities, and that's why we put priorities. This is how we think we work, like putting priorities, and we try to reach them. And sometimes, yeah, it's good and it's needed. That's why we focus on something. But at the same time, yeah, how to find this proper balance is something which I think when I'm not an expert on Estonian and Latvian education system generally in that way, but we sometimes lack balance. We want to put a high goals, let's go well, high priorities, but how to have a balance, how to not lose at the same time this whole education, because as Oskar's saying, we need not only STEM, we need also other parts in our general education to have a rounded education for the person to be good in STEM, in sports, in music. That's why how we develop the kid in a school, right? And that's why maybe. But let's say we do make sometimes, yeah, these big decisions and we go there, but maybe not so moving wherever the teams with it.
Okay, Asta, and then we will hear from you about Estonia. Mm-hmm.
No, I will finish about Latvia, about this STEAM or STEM. I think the one thing what we did is that we, in non-formal education, put the percentage, how much all this non-formal education should be for STEM. And it's somehow create a path for children to choose some activities like robotic or some other things, because mostly we more sing and dance, and now it's like dedicated to STEM. Maybe that.
So do I understand it correctly that if you are in a formal education, then if you are learning something in non-formal education, it is possible to bring in your studies?
No, it's not bring in your studies, just non-formal education where you choose some activities outside the school. Money is divided more.
Okay, the finances. Yeah. Okay.
Of course, everything is always about financing.
Okay, but let's hear from you. What are like one or two key points you think of? If someone asks you, please describe me what you think about the Estonian education system. Would you like to start, Asta?
Yeah,
please.
I think the main difference what I see is the attitude from government to the education system, and it started not this year but 20 and more years ago. And when you said that you, in your parliament there is not committee for education, I was a little bit surprised, because from my perspective the attitude forward to teachers is very impressive in Estonia, and maybe it's because of this setuping of goal, I don't know, Digital Estonia or something other, by the salaries and education of teacher was really like a aim of, and this attitude not only from government but also from all society, because as I see, we really start to think about teachers' education much not so fast, and now we are lack of teachers who really dedicated to how to say good results maybe, and it's in my perspective the most important part.
Okay, I think Riin will comment at the end. Okay, yeah, Gunnar, what about you? What do you know about our system? What do you think you know?
Like, I have like opinion also in the public is that Estonia is a role model for us in education. Somehow look at Estonia and thinks it is great there. And when I also trying to talk and discuss and to understand what is in Estonia, I see that the challenges we do have very similar challenges, same. But what I was hearing, and I would like to really also maybe to hear from you, is it so? But something which helps you to get results is a bit of more of autonomy for your schools, for your principals in the municipalities. But it's also you have this frame as well as we have a very good frame of a curriculum. It's very similar in a way. And it's a really good one, and on paper it looks really nice, and this is how education should be provided. But to deliver is a challenge in both countries, how to deliver that, how to implement that curriculum. But in a way, what you may be doing a bit differently, and as I think, is that how you give autonomy more to schools, to principals, how to deliver the program. And maybe this the same is in Latvia, that our principals is also have this autonomy, how to deliver things. Maybe Oskars will comment about, but maybe in Estonia about autonomy is something which always I am hearing. You have more autonomy.
Okay, Oskars, what about you?
I have just some assumptions, and I hope that some of them are wrong, because it can't be so idealistic, you know.
Probably.
Because also Estonia is like a role model for education here in Latvia, and in a lot of cases. My assumption is that you have like really research-based education. I know that you have really good results in the PISA tests, and I have heard that you have you have made it like some kind of competition that students want to take those tests, and it's like educational games for you, and you can reach those results. But that behind all the reforms you are doing, there is like some kind of research. It's my like a feeling. Another one is that you have you are using a lot of digital tools. That a lot of things are happening using ICT tools in different ways. Sorry for Skype, but different ones which are still alive. And also, I have a feeling, I'm not so sure is it right, that there is no lack of teachers in Estonia. That it's in some way it's so prestige to do the teaching job that if I would be a principal in Estonia, that when I put an advertisement outside that I need any teacher, there will be a lot of teachers enrolling in that position, and I could choose from them. That's it's like assumption how it may look like in Estonia. But hopefully something is wrong.
Right, yeah, there is something. There are discrepancies, I would say. Riin, I will say some words, and then we'll listen to you. It's really nice to hear that we are a role model. Probably there are reasons for that, though I think we have discussed it with Riin as well. I think there are a lot of things that you have done, apart from the instruction language, also, that are really nice and are really inspiring to us as well. As for the teachers, it's an interesting perspective that you have. I think I would agree that our teacher training level is quite high. I was a school principal, and I had the privilege in the first year of the school enjoy the situation that you described. I had a vision. I had like this a bit different school, a lot of, let's say, fire, and I could really choose. I could choose. I wouldn't say there was like a long line of teachers, but I could really choose who is going to be part of the team based on the shared vision and understanding about teaching and learning. The second year was more tricky. Third year, very tricky. There is I would say, shortage of teachers in bigger cities, totally. And we have, I don't know about the law, but in Estonia is that if you don't have a qualification from university, then you can hire the teacher with like 1 year contract. And then you have to have a plan how this teacher is going to achieve the master's degree, that is the qualification in Estonia. A lot of schools have 50%, sometimes more, of the teachers without qualifications because of the shortage of teachers. So this is the real situation. But I think that, I would really give thumbs up to teachers training. The teachers who came also to the school that I was head of and were studying at the same time, or were like in their last years of studies, I think that the ideas about education and education psychology were very up to date and modern and very student-centered, which is really nice. What else was something that PISA tests? Okay. I have to be really honest. I'm not fond of tests too much. I think that the goal setting and the self-learning way to approach these goals is more important, because we are very different, every one of us, and it's a challenge in the classroom, in the school. How do you kind of mentor the students to these goals without the pressure of tests and numerical feedback? But this is my personal view, which does not represent the official view of the Republic of Estonia, maybe. But we have a lot of autonomy, so as a school principal, I was autonomous to build up the way we taught in the frames of our national curricula, so that the goals were met, and we were able to teach in the ways that we thought were suitable for us. So there was a lot of autonomy, totally, that I agree with. Even in the level of the classroom, the teacher has a lot of autonomy, depending on the school principal, to choose the materials she or he uses to teach something, to achieve the goals, and the principles as well. So this might be different. I don't know exactly how is it in Latvia. And Riin, please comment also. Thank you.
I think that we do have a lot of autonomy on every level. But I think that we still have principals and teachers who would like to have some more regulations, because as we know that with the autonomy always comes the responsibility. So maybe some of our schools or teachers feel that in order to make themselves a bit more comfortable, they would like to have some more regulations. For example, we had a very passionate discussion in our schools about the usage of mobile phones. I believe you do have the same discussion in Latvia. And we had a number of schools who said that they would like us as a ministry to give strict regulations, so they can refer to these regulations in order to show the students that, okay, the ministry won't let you use mobile phones. So that's why we need to get rid of mobile phones from schools. What was the message from the ministry is that as our schools are autonomous, they have the freedom to decide the usage of mobile phones, for example, in their schools. But it must not come from top down, but the agreement has to be made in schools, not above from the ministry. So I think that this shows that autonomy sometimes is not maybe met the warmest regards, what we expect from the ministry.
I will ask you to talk about technology, as this is really like your total field of expertise, but I wanted to add, this also I think very strongly came out when we had the COVID pandemic. And the regulations about COVID were also coming from the ministry, which was very logical because it was time of crisis. But I was a school principal at that time. And I have to confess that I wouldn't say that I said it in the way you said, Riin, like ministry, but I refer to the orders of the ministry, like this is created for us so that we know what to do in this crisis situation. So sometimes it really helps as well. It's not only like hiding behind it, but it's helpful. But Riin, you are like the technology expert in Estonia and in education. Can you tell us how are things with technology?
I think that when I started to lead the technology education area in the ministry, then actually we phrased the goal of our area or our team in the ministry. And this was actually the smart usage of technology. And in our case, we understood that it is sometimes the decision not to use technology. Because what we have seen in our schools is actually that, yes, the technology is the part of our education system. Our schools are quite well equipped with technology. But sometimes the technology is like a thing itself. It doesn't actually support students in the way it should be supporting. So I think that what is our next goal, our next step in the schools is actually to evaluate how we should use the technology we have and how to make sure that it adds some value to our learning processes. Because I think that it's no use to, use the technology just to do the same things we can do with paper and pen. So it should add some extra value. And I think that there we have a lot of work to do in our schools.
Oskars, how are things in your school with technology?
In my school or in education system here?
About your school and then about the education system as well?
You know, I'm going to generalize a little bit because I can talk also because I haven't been in every classroom at the same moment when teachers are using the technology. But I would agree what she said, that time to time we see that there is like a pressure on teachers that you have to use them, but there is no educational purpose or why to do that behind that. For example, if for example in my lessons I can collect the feedback in a traditional way, like raising the hands or writing something down and showing to me just to see have you learned something, or I can spend a lot of time using like Kahoot or whatever, so a different tool, but the purpose is the same, you know, not to spend so much time. But usually, for example, we have like a thing it's called like accreditation of the school, when like outside commission is coming to the school and observing lessons, for example. One of the criteria is that how you are using the technology. Yeah, but it's like I would discuss about that if it's so necessary, because you can reach educational goals even without technology. But in some and also there is like huge inequality according to the technologies we have in our school. For example, in my school, it's totally okay. I know schools that, for example, they don't have like interactive boards or like there's a lot of lack of different kind of technologies. It's huge inequality.
I will make a little wrap up of the previously said and ask a question from you. So, to me, it seems like we established the picture that the teacher training, maybe in Estonia, is in good hands, and you look up to that, which we are happy about with our teacher training. We also understood that the problem with the lack of teachers with qualification is in both countries. And at the same time, as Riin said, we have the similar situation that we have a declining population in general, as well as in some particular parts of our countries, where the situation will change. There will be fewer and fewer students, which means we don't need so many teachers anymore, which is similar, it seems. As for technology, it seems to me that from what we have discussed so far, the situation seems kind of the same. Riin, do you agree? Yes?
Yeah, I believe so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so then this autonomy, which I wanted to address you, Oskars, we kind of shared the autonomy part, that it's quite huge. And I will add that maybe for the picture that we have a national curricula, which was updated 2 years ago, even more so that the national curricula states what are the learning outcomes on different stages of school. Like, for example, grades 1 to 3, at the end of the 3rd grade, in different subjects, the learning outcomes are, and how the teacher, for example, autonomously teaches the students to achieve these study goals is really very much a creative process for the teacher. So it became even more like loose, let's say, in a very positive way. So there is a lot of autonomy. How is it for you as a school principal? And you can, of course, add as in general your picture about Latvian education.
According to the regulation, it's almost the same. We also have national curriculum where our learning outcomes defined according to the 3rd grade, 6th grade, and 9th grade, and also after secondary school. But what is one of the challenges, and I think in my perspective, it is like a huge sector of autonomy, but a lot of teachers don't think like that we are, during the previous 4 or 5 years, we have trying to develop like common understanding how good and qualitative teaching and learning happen in lessons. We have those like standardized learning outcomes, but there's like several principles which has to be implemented in every classroom. It doesn't matter, are you teaching in the capital or are you teaching in some different region. For example, that each of the lesson has to have like clear learning outcomes. There has to be a feedback in every lesson for every student. There has to be like meaningful tasks when you can deep inside of the curriculum and learn something more, not only the knowledge. And that could be one of the hardest part, because some of the teachers saying that it's like we are taking the autonomy of them, but I'm also like a researcher and I say, no, you are giving a lot of autonomy, but there's like a common understanding also in research how good learning happens. Especially if I compare when I was a student, a lot of teaching which happens inside of the classrooms which I attended, it wasn't good teaching. It was just a teaching, you know. I didn't learn almost nothing in several lessons, you know. That could be like one part according to the autonomy. And also about the principle, it also depends who is the owner of the school. If it's local government and you are setting a lot of regulations, what you have to do as a principal, you have a really short amount of autonomy. In our case here in CES, I work here, it's quite okay, but time to time still you say that there's that kind of regulation, and I have to do this, you know. But principals are smart. We know how to manage that, you know.
So it also sounds familiar, doesn't it, Riin? I think it's quite the same. Yeah,
yeah, I felt the same. That actually I think that we have the same challenges as you, Oskar, mentioned, because what we have seen is the same situation, that sometimes our lessons show how well our teachers know the subject, not how well our students achieve the learning goals. And what is the question? I haven't actually found the answer yet from my point of view, is that how can we evaluate those meaningful outcomes you also mentioned? For example, we in Estonia, in our curriculum, we have those general competencies which are set in our national curriculum. There are eight of them, and actually all our teachers should teach them, no matter the subject. For example, the knowledge about learning itself, or the knowledge how to cooperate with others, etc. And actually, as Annika said, that we are maybe not so big fans of PISA tests, because they actually do not show those outcomes we would like to know about our students, whether they have achieved those learning outcomes or not. So at the moment when I was listening to you, I actually felt that we have the same challenges regarding the self-directed learner or the deep learning in general.
That's a very good bridge because, Riin, I wanted to address the topic of self-directed learning, which I know is one of the things that you are really passionate about and even are doing some science about it or plan to do. So if you think about Estonian education, if you just put some keywords into, and this will be also a topic, we have some time left to talk about that there. The artificial intelligence topic. So today when I was in the bus, I asked from the artificial intelligence, what does he or she, I don't know, think about, what are the, or it, like, it seems like it's a person. What does he, propose, like the key points of the Estonian education? And the first pair of words was self-directed learner and growth mindset are like a very good thing about our education, which I also have to agree with. It's not everywhere so, but this is something that we really value. And I think PISA tests, a part of it showed the growth mindset is very high in our students, which is a nice thing that PISA also evaluates, not only other things, but this in Estonians were in Europe, I think, among the best. So Riin, if you would tell us a little bit about the self-directed learning ideas that are right now being discussed at the ministry level, or maybe you personally want to add something about what you are doing, and then we can build the bridge to the artificial intelligence leap, which is something that Estonia is right now in, and I think that would be interesting to share with you. Please.
Yeah. I agree. I am very passionate about self-directed learner, and I am doing my doctoral research about it. And in general, what we see as a self-directed learner is not the situation where we go to school and everyone does whatever he or she wants. Actually, we still have a national curriculum to follow. But what we see is that we should provide the environment where every student can feel the autonomy to decide the learning path she follows in order to reach the learning outcomes. But at the same time, it will come with the responsibility, actually. So we want our classes to have students as active parts and teachers as a supporters or mentors, and not maybe the ones who end the lesson feeling exhausted, because they are the ones who have been the most active ones in the lesson. And I think that this is maybe the core aspect when we talk about self-directed learner. That the learner takes the responsibility for their learning outcome and knows how to reach those learning outcomes also.
And I can support it with an example from the school where I worked. So we had the strategy that from the first grade, Monday morning started with goal setting. Even with the 7-year-olds, they can also do that. Of course, like Gunnar asked me, give me an example. The example could be that by Friday afternoon, I know perfectly well how to write the letter A. It's based on their biological age or like where are you with your studies. They can do that. They can really do that. And it starts, and there are also 24 plus students in the class. But you set the goals together. You have the goals for your class, but they are set for Friday. And then, of course, the teacher, as Riin explained, guides them through these days of school, but the tempo and the level of deep learning is different. And so some of them are faster, so they can do something else besides just writing the A, which could be like the main goal in the first grade. And at the end of the school week, and later at the end of the month, and later at the end of the period, you learn how to give feedback to yourself. Did I achieve what I wanted to do? Why didn't I? Was it that I didn't ask for help, or is it somehow very difficult for me and I need some extra attention? So I have seen it with my own eyes that it's possible if you start it from grade 1. We had, as we were a new school, we had students in our first school year coming to the 6th grade as well, up to the 6th grade. If they had the background of 5 years not studying in this way, then we spent a lot of time in the 6th year to teach them this way of thinking about their learning path. So it is a study of learning itself to become a self-directed learner. But I totally promise you, I've seen it. It can be done in a public school with classes where you don't have like a small amount of children, but a normal class. So we do have about 15 minutes left. You wanted to comment, Asa? Yeah, please.
I have a question. How you prepare teachers for that process?
First of all, I have to repeat that those teachers who were freshly out of teacher training or were still in teacher training, they totally understood this mindset. And then what we did in our school, this is of course one school example right now, is that we created and prepared and printed our school's own kind of diaries for the kids, which were based on this mindset, which had this like weekly plan where you could write, or in the first grade when you couldn't write, the teacher had prepared, you looked at it together, maybe it was like visuals, you glued it to Friday and you started from there, because somehow, I think Gunnar to you that right now in my work in the foundation and in my work as a mentor of leaders in private sector as well, there is such a lack of competence how to set goals. People set goals in a way that I will do this and that for 6 months, but this is a process. The goal is something or some place, some situation you want to be at some point of time. And I think that this is something that has to be an integral part of teaching, because not every family can provide that. And not every family can provide today a lot of things, so school has a really important role in our children's lives. But I'll take their like moderator's power and would like to ask Riin to tell you about something that is really important right now in Estonia. Just a background, and you can add to that as well. On the 24th of February this year, when was the birthday of the Estonian Republic, our president said that we are starting artificial intelligence leap, the direct translation, in our school system. And this leap has started right now. There is a plan how it's going to leap in the schools. And Riin, in her role in the ministry as the head of educational technology, is part of this project. So I would really like to ask you to tell our audience a little bit what is happening in Estonia, why is it happening, and then we can go further on that. Thanks.
So the main core of this leap from the technology point of view is that from the 1st of September this year, our 10th and 11th grade students who study in gymnasium and their teachers will get a learning-oriented application, AI application they can use free of charge in order to support their learning and their studying processes. And as I also started with the technology, then it is important to emphasize that actually the main goal of this decision or this AI leap is not to make our students to use technology the best way possible, but actually to support the ability to be a self-directed learners. As our president said, that we do not want to become the nation who uses the AI the most, but actually we want to become a nation who uses the AI the smartest way possible. So we want our students to show how this AI we have already in our schools and in our everyday lives, even in buses, as Annika said, actually can be a supportive tool to support our learning outcomes. At the same time, we know that at the moment, students are already using AI, and not only on the gymnasium level, but starting already from the younger grades. But at the moment, they are not doing it in a way that it supports their learning goals. Quite opposite. They quite often use it in a way that harms, actually, the ability to learn something. I'm sure that every person who is connected somehow to some students have seen, actually, this situation, where actually the student uses the usual ChatGPT and doesn't learn anything. He gets the answer, writes it down, if we talk about homework, for example, and doesn't learn anything by himself or herself. So what we want to do, or what we want to achieve, is that our students know how AI could support them rather than harm their learning processes. And maybe it's also important to emphasize that the application they will get is not the regular self-application we all have in our phones, but it is actually custom made for our schools. Our team of scientists actually is working on this model we are going to implement, or we are going to use in our schools. And this is the model actually which acts a bit differently than those AI models we have at the moment. For example, it doesn't give any answers to the students. Rather, it encourage the student to find answer by asking questions.
I think what is also a good thing to point out is that this is done through a foundation, which is a common foundation of the state and the private sector of Estonia, funded by both businesses and the Republic of Estonia. Oskars, you want to? Yeah, please.
What Riin has explained us, it is like, I would say, like a huge difference between our systems. Because in Latvia, I have a sense that we are like running behind the changes, you know? We have, here in this festival, we have a lot of discussions about IA. What to do, is it good, is it bad? Believe me, a year after this one, we are going to meet again, and still there will be a lot of discussions, what to do, how to do, and you are starting from the 1st of September doing what we have to do, because it's reality. We are like skipping reality, not all of the time, but a lot of times, because we have, I don't know, maybe it's like the sense that we have to discuss and not to like shoot in wrong direction. I don't know, but we discuss. We are not so like brave to make like really huge decisions. You are doing that right now, and you are going ahead, and we are staying behind.
Just it's why I ask about how do you prepare or train teachers, and how your trade unions react on that.
What do you mean? React to what? Yeah, it's a real question. React to what?
Yeah,
to AI?
Because maybe in our culture, I don't know, but or in our system, quite big impact is the trade unions who really stay for teachers, and I think a lot of changes is not happening because of trade unions.
I still have to clarify. You mean that we want the teachers to start to use AI, and you ask what the trade unions think about it? Or what is the question? Maybe
different, because they are like talking a lot about the salaries for teachers, a lot of materials, but they are not creating discussions for like wider changes, how the good teaching may look like, what we have to do in our system to improve it. You know, that's I also agree that is a problem.
Riin, would you like to comment on that briefly?
Yes, I would actually. We cannot say that when we announced the AI Leap, that all our teachers stood up and applaud that, oh, this is a good initiative. No. There were teachers who still are quite, how to say it, careful. But what is the problem, not problem, what is the situation is that we do not have the freedom to decide whether the AI is in our schools or not. It is there, and our duty as educators is to make sure that when it is there already, let's get the best of it. Because when we do not react, then we actually leave our children alone with the tool. And then I do believe that it's not the best way to support our students then.
Thank you, Riin. We have the last minutes going on. I will try to understand what's going on with you. So if anyone has a question or comment, please feel free to show a hand and I can hand you the microphone. But if that's like step 2 maybe, then I will ask, you have a question. Oh, beautiful, please.
Yeah, I have a question, but it's about Latvian education, and maybe I will ask it in Latvian, if that's fine. Es jau šo jautājumu sagatavoju iepriekš, un vai jūsuprāt, Latvijas izglītības reformas vispār fokusējas uz pareizajām lietām? Jo, piemēram, es mācījos, un tajā brīdī bija Skola 2030 reforma, un es dzirdēju no daudziem skolotājiem un skolāniem kritiku par šo reformu, un es domāju, ka, piemēram, šāda reforma vairāk koncentrējas uz pašu satura izmaiņu nekā uz tādām reāli svarīgām lietām, piemēram, par drastisko atšķirību starp mazpilsētas vai laukskolām un kaut kādām pilsētas skolām. Un, vai vispār izglītības reformas fokusējas uz svarīgākām lietām?
The question sounded really long, so although it would have been something about me and Riin, we don't have a clue. But I would love to ask you to answer briefly, because we just have a couple of minutes and I would like to wrap up the conversation that we had. Is that possible?
It's not answerable in a very easy way, because I think we focused on the right things. But at first, we have to somehow solve our financial issues to provide education, qualitative education, in every place where we say that the school should be. And then also, if we're talking about curriculum, it's really similar with Estonia. But sometimes I think that we not manage in correct way or deliver reform to the school. And it's why, as you said, teachers said that the curriculum is not good. It's why I've said that this difference between how we're preparing the teachers maybe is quite big.
Okay, maybe that's another discussion for the next year. But I personally would like to wrap it up. What remains with me is that I think we are more similar than we're different, actually. Maybe sometimes it's the question, you don't agree with me, okay. But let's, yeah. And I think this AI leap is something that we should be proud of, and we are very, I think everyone in Estonia, or like on personal level, if you want to learn something or to talk to Riin, who is in the team of this leap, feel free to contact through Guna or find myself somewhere. We are there to share our experience. I'm quite sure it's not going to be like a very smooth road. It's still a bumpy road. And maybe what was really interesting to hear your questions and comments about teacher training. And I really kind of am amazed that I myself am really proud of what is happening in our teacher training when I talk about it, because I've seen the young teachers, and not biologically young sometimes, but in their like career turners, or how do you say that they are receiving very good education. Sometimes it's also difficult to implement it in the schools, what they learn in the universities. So this is kind of what I take away from here. But would you like to have the final comment? And then we will do a little hand show as well, please.
Okay, very short comment. So, yeah, and then probably partly answer to your question. So, we cannot separate education policy from other policies. And from my perspective, biggest difference between Latvia and Estonia that in Estonia, regional policy is different. In Estonia, municipalities are bigger. That's the fourth thing. It's not in Latvia, in several cases, some city municipality and countryside, like rural municipalities are different. Some one territory, yeah, one ecosystem, but two municipalities, yeah, we cannot manage this. And then such is my answer. So if you have bigger municipality, you have more resources to do this, yeah. And of course, one another thing that mentality, you have still this connection with Finland. So Estonian is like a little bit little brother or sister of this Finnish education system. So yeah.
That's true. When after the regaining independence, Finland was our the benchmark. That's true as well. Thank you for the comment. And for the final, to wrap it up, if you were here at the first, to remember, I asked you some questions and asked you to raise your hand. So I try that once more. Who thinks you know quite a lot about Estonian education? Show your hand, please. Much more, yeah, than you before. Yeah, as good. Okay, good. Then we achieved some goal, I think, yeah. Another question, which I didn't ask probably. Do you think Estonian and Latvian education system in general is very different? No, yeah. So you still agree with me. Thank you very much for being here. It's a bit cold, it rains, but I really appreciate that you took interest in our panel and hopefully see you in the future. Thank you. Enjoy. Aitäh, Riin. Aitäh sulle.